It is another cloudy morning here in Goroka, Papua New Guinea. I've just got, wow, he's going fast. He's doing our runway inspection. Anyway, I'm going down to Ayura today to pick up one person. It's just a 15-minute flight down there. I wasn't even planning to do this flight today, but the other guys felt bad for me because I didn't have any flights this whole week. So I'm heading down there to pick him up, getting him back here as an intern or something like that, checking out our mission. But it's a very cloudy morning today, so these type of flights are the hardest to really get out and get over there. Because it's such a short flight, getting up on like our instrument, route doesn't really do us much good. And then with it cloudy like this, all the way down to the ground, all the way around on every single ridge, clouds to the ground, but it makes it really difficult to get out of here and get over there easily, I should say, to be able to get back down and actually land. So let's go ahead and pull my plane out. It's in the hangar right now and start going. I don't have to fuel or anything, so let's just get it out here and then see what the weather's doing then. Alright, let's go ahead and go over the weather getting over to Ayura. It's Wednesday the 16th, if you're wondering if this is a new one or not. It starts off on this page. Let's go ahead and go over to... So let's go to low clouds first. So we're starting here in Goroka, heading over here to Ukarumpa. It's low clouds here, as you guys can see. I'm looking out here. I can guarantee you I can outclimb the clouds out there. So, second thing I'm going to look at, I can look at the cloud bases. It's not super accurate here, but it's showing green, which is over 5,000 feet over in Ayura. Here it's showing 1,500 feet and 1,000 feet right at the field, which actually is fairly accurate looking like right here. Now the last thing I have, an option, they have like a weather camera on a tower right there at Ayura. So this one here was taken about 3 minutes ago. It's looking towards the airstrip. And it looks like there's maybe just some like super thin scuzzy layer close to the ground that's kind of looks like right over the runway, but I can't really tell, so I did text one of the pilots there. But above it's 5,000 feet, like kind of like this, super high. So I'm fine with going. I kind of want to wait for him to text me back though, just to 100% verify before I head out of here, because as is right now, it'd be a lot of work to get back into here VFR because we don't have approaches yet, but they are actually coming October 5th, our very first actual legal approach here in Goroka. So I'm excited to share that with you when it comes around and comes on our iPads. All right, well, the clouds are already clearing out pretty good, even from my approach coming back in here, so I'm fine with going. I just got a text saying that it is good over in Ayura, so let's go ahead and get going. Goes on, low start. NG's coming up, oil pressure's coming in. Introduce our fuel. Fuel flow immediately starts coming in. So I'm looking at my NG first. Now I'm looking at my ITT, kind of watching the rate back to NG, make sure it's past the 35%. And then back up to ITT at 620. I haven't done anything in the plane yet. I mean, I did my walk around and everything like that, but I have not done anything setting up. I wanted to go through it with you guys so you guys could see what I do. Amps on the generator go up, then the amps on the alternator jump up. On our aux bus, that just runs all of our air blowers and things like that in here. I don't have AC. Don't really need tons, but just some, otherwise it gets super stuffy in here. Alright, I dipped the fuel at 740 pounds. So let's come over here and put 740 in there. Then, I don't have to do this today, but I'm going to walk through with it today because I only have like 29 kgs on board with me today. Here in the pod down underneath. And then we're flying Zulu. It already has my weight in there with like my camera bag and flight bag and lunch and everything else. And then we can hit the little kg button right here, and it puts us at 6,600 pounds. So our crew is 210, which is me and my bags. And cargo, total payload, is 64. So we're just going to go to 60, and then change my basic empty weight down here. Empty weight, 4275. Let's go 4280 on that. Okay. Oh, here's the problem. I was like, what? That doesn't look right. Let's change our fuel up here. It says it's full up. We're at 740 pounds of fuel. Now it says 5290, that's or 5289, that says 5290. We're within 10, so we are good to go. You can see where we are on weight balance, just right there in the middle, kind of boringness. And if you're a flight simmer, you guys can follow along on the charts and things like that for you guys to follow along. Alright, let's go ahead and throw in our flight plan, Goroka to Ayura. We have a bunch of them saved just to save ourselves time. Not all the pilots use it, but I do. Okay, our fuel, which we've already done, and caps we've checked. Our selectors I checked when I climbed in earlier and off, which is an instrument, so we're going to go up to 7,000. We've got Goroka to Ayura, it's 34 miles over there. We'll center our bug here. We've already got our altimeters set up for the most part. 5,300 pounds more or less. So down here says 53. We're going to rotate at, well, 53 and 62 if we have to come back in. Alright. Our flaps are set, indicated at 20 and verified at 20. Our trims are already set up. Goroka Tower, good morning. November Tango, Zulu request taxi Ayura, point POB.
November Tango, Zulu, good morning, Chief. Taxi for 17 left, backtrack line up, QNH 1023.
1023, clear the backtrack line up 17 left, November Tango Zulu. Our landing light, pulse light, and our strobes on. Alright, clear left, clear right. Once I let go, it should climb over that. So this is still dry season, so there's a lot of smoke in the air. It's not just clouds out there, it's like smoke mixed with low ground fog, mixed with a 5,000 foot kind of AGL, kind of broken overcast layer out there. So it doesn't look the greatest out there, but it will look better once we're up. We'll be 50 knots by our taxiway, or we're board on the runway. After takeoff, we'll pitch for 85 knots, consider EPL. If that doesn't work, we'll go ahead and consider feather. Immediately, zero flaps if we're at a place where I feel like I need to glide. If we're going straight down, there's going to be 80, 85, or 85, then 80. Cut off, pull off, and shut off. Alright, our ignition is on, inlet and lights are good. Our harnesses. Goroka Tower, November Tango Zulu, ready for departure.
November Tango Zulu, runway 17 left, left turn, clear for takeoff.
17 left, left turn, clear for takeoff, November Tango Zulu. We are 20 degrees Celsius out, so up here in the chart, we go 1390 for 1440. Our big map on here. Ignition, condition, flaps 20, fuel, and harnesses. Let's go. 1390, rotate 53. Here's our 53. And bring our ITT right on up to 740. Alright, Alright, kind of like I thought, we've got this kind of ground layer with not the best visibility. We're going to take the low route today over there. This is going to be just a lot easier if I can just see exactly where I am. I don't want to get above any layers because then I'm going to have a hard time getting back down through those layers on just a 15-minute flight. We're just going to go 7,000 or below. We'll go 10 degrees of flaps now. We'll go 0 degrees. And start bringing our prop back on to 2,000 RPM. So I just bring it to the bottom of the N right here, and that's pretty close. Within 20, so then we'll just make some small adjustments after that. And I'm going to bring my ITT back down to 720 if I was doing a climb. I'm already at 6,000 right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring on my torque back to 1250 for my cruise. And putting a little bit of left rudder pressure in as I'm pulling the power out. Go landing, bypass, and igniters off. Brook Tower, November Tango Zulu, departed time 18, tracking 111, and up to 10 miles right of track, below 7,000, Ayura 34.
November Tango Zulu, cover departure 10 right of track, below 7,000, 15 miles, contact Moresby, 12077, 6622.
12077, 6622, November Tango Zulu. Alright, it is looking not the best up here. It actually drops down, it looks like. I'm going to put my terrain on here. That way I have an idea. I'm going to kind of go up on the yellow. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull my power, slowing down a little bit because this is not quite looking as good as I was kind of hoping it was, but I think it's still workable. Okay, actually it's not looking as quite as bad as I thought. So I'm kind of hoping that I'll be able to climb back up a little bit closer to 7,000 once I get over here. Coming back over here, it looks like this layer above me is at like 6,500 and then it's clear above it. So I might have to do our cloud break procedure to get back in here unless I can remain underneath. We'll just continue on because I mean, I still got 10 miles visibility, just not a lot of clearance of clouds above me. I want the comp brake app right over here, the 9KOMG. So I'm going to be going up near Gassid, 0, and then come up that little tiny yellow valley. That's my plan. That's why I put the terrain map on. I usually don't fly with it unless it's days like this where I'm actually going to use it. Otherwise, what I like to do is just look at the color of the terrain, and that kind of gives me an idea what the weather is going to do. Unless it's on a day like today. It looks like I'm still having really good visibility, so I'm fine to just go ahead and continue on, believing that I'm going to be able to get all the way through now, because it looks like it's just slowly rising up from here on out. At my nearest, that'll tell me how far away from Goroka I am. They said to call up Moresby at 15 miles on 120.7, so I'm going to start listening in on that. I'm going to tune the HF radio. So if I have to use it, it's already ready to go. So in days like this, even though I'm really familiar, difficult to go, okay, that peak is that specific mountain, and that's where you're using like your actual chart to navigate. Oh, look at that, it just cleared up a ton. So I probably don't even have to go the low route, but I'm going to go ahead and start climbing up because I'm too low. I'm at my pattern lower. I'm at like 500 feet from my pattern altitude when I get to Ayura at 5,800 feet. So we're going to just go ahead and slowly climb on up to around 6,100 feet at the lowest. And we'll switch over to Moresby. Moresby 120.7, November Tango Zulu. There we go. Let's go over to HF. Moresby 6622, November Tango Zulu.
November Tango Zulu, this is Moresby.
Goroka below 7,000, estimating Ayura time 32.
November Tango Zulu, no report traffic attitude H1014.
Traffic 1014, November Tango Zulu. the highway, the Highlands Highway, comes right down through here. This is hanging off. If you guys are familiar with the area, if you're from PNG, you've lived in PNG, then you might have heard of it before. This road that's going up on this, that used to be a dirt road that goes all out there. It was like one of my favorite motorcycle rides, and then they paved it. It's still nice, but it's still a fun ride because there's not much traffic on it at all, so you can really go fast. Alright, back to the big screen. Now you can see to Ayura. I really don't need to go much higher because you guys can see, I mean, the clouds are maybe 500 foot above me all over there. Maybe not even that, I don't really know. And there's a lot of confusion on like VFR, IFR, in Papua New Guinea. It is a lot different than America, for sure. Basically, if the terrain rises really 5,000 and above, we have to stay clear of clouds inside of the ground at all times. And that's what allows me to be able to fly close to clouds, things like that. And another thing someone was mentioning in my last video, and I've had this mentioned before, is they say, man,
500.
You know, I fly in the United States and I would never cross ridges that as close as you do. Well, here in Papua New Guinea, because we are close to the equator, winds are not at all like they are in the States. Like when I had my Kit Fox, there's no way that I would do ridge crossings with that. Like if there was an ounce of wind, for one, it was only 800 pounds, but they had a lot more downdrafts and a lot more swirling wind here. We've got right now 4 knots of wind coming this. Downdrafts if it's coming towards me, because as it comes over it pushes down. If it's coming behind me, it's going to have updrafts, and then on the other side it's going to have swirling wind, so it's going to be more turbulent. So those are some things that I kind of look at as I get closer to gaps. You know, if it's whipping wind, I'm not going to go quite as low across it. If it's 4 knots, 3 knots, like, you're not going to feel anything in this plane. Here, traffic 120.7, Kodiak November Tango Zulu. Currently 13 miles, tracking for the Compre gap, 6,100. Circuit Ayura 32. Let's go ahead and start our landing checklist, our TAWs. We'll get our VREF here once we pass this gap, just so my eyes are up and out where they need to be. I have one little tower here, but I mean it's not much taller than a tree, so I'm never really worried that much about these towers here in Papua New Guinea. They're all just cell phone towers that are really short. Our lights and inlet are good. If we have to go around, we'll just power up 20 degrees of flaps, pitch for 12 degrees, kind of straight ahead and then right hand turn out, trying to avoiding the town as much as we can just for noise abatement. Alright, and let's do OBS, runway 140. It's actually over there a little bit more, so I'm kind of going the wrong direction.
500.
Now that we're past, let's switch over to our aux page. We're 5,200 feet, so our touchdown is going to be 62 knots, which is the same as when we left Goroka, so our VREF is set up. Our prop and harness, we're 9 miles, we'll wait just a little bit longer for that. We'll fly overhead and enter into a left downwind for runway 14. It's just a, I don't know, what is it? 1,280 meters long, 2% slope, 5,100 foot elevation. And usually has tailwinds in the afternoon. But my plan is to fly overhead. That way I can kind of take a look at the runway in case anybody's there. That way they can see that I'm there, for one. I'll fly overhead and then enter into a left downwind. All stations Ayura, 1207, Kodiak November Tango Zulu. 6 miles to the west, 6,400. We'll be flying overhead to join a left downwind, Ayura. Now the weather looks really nice out here. It actually continues to get even better. The clouds are just continuing to rise. We should have no problems going back. If you want to see the flight back, I'll just do another time lapse. I'm going to do that on the flights that I can, wherever I can, just because I usually don't film 2 flights in 1 flight anyway. But I will film the flight back so that you guys can watch what it's going to look like getting back into Goroka just on a time lapse, getting over there a little bit quicker. Well, I had a lot of people say that they really enjoyed being able to watch that at the end, just to kind of conclude the video and see what it's like on my way return trip. Moresby 6622 November Tango Zulu in the circuit, Ayura, cancel SAR.
November Tango Zulu, Moresby, Ayura, forward Missionary.
November Tango Zulu. Alright, landing clearance is done because we canceled our SAR. Prop and harness. We'll get prop here in a minute. Just going to leave it back just because it's going to make it a little bit quieter. Ayura, or Ukarumpa is right here, so I'm going to fly just on the other side of that and kind of come around. All stations Ayura 1207, November Tango Zulu overhead this time. We'll be joining into left downwind, runway 14 Ayura. Here's our 6100 pattern altitude. And this is where JARS works, if you're familiar with that. It's called SIL here, Summer Institute of Language or something like that, or commonly known as JARS back in the States. 10 degrees of flaps. Don't see any airplanes even pulled out yet. I went 62 at the slowest. I mean, this is a 1,280 meter long runway, so I might just come in closer to 70 because it's so long that I'm not really that concerned about coming in at my slowest VREF as possible. All stations Ayura, November Tango Zulu, left downwind, 14 Ayura. About 20 degrees of flaps. We'll be turning base 5,800 feet. We'll just track for 90 knots here on downwind, 80 on base, 70 on final. This tower right up here is what I was showing you earlier. It has a camera on it that faces towards the north, which is kind of actually that direction. So it doesn't really show the, well, I guess it does, just not awesome. Go ahead and push our prop forward now. I'll slow us down a little bit. And turn to base, 5,800 feet. And slow into 85. Not even touching the power at all. Just in the turn, it's going to allow it to slow on down a little bit. I haven't touched it at all. I'm already at 83, kind of slow into 82. And now I'm at 80. Still haven't even done anything with the power yet. We'll go full flaps, and checklist is complete. I haven't touched my power at all yet. Go right here between these two, or this little clearing of trees. Still haven't touched the power. I'm kind of going 74 now. We're at 400 feet per minute on the descent. Now we're at 550, 600. This is looking really nice though right here. Alright, now I'm just touching my power back to bring it to 70 knots. Alright, 550 on the descent. And 69 to 70 knots. They've graded it really nice here. A low idle, 20 degrees of flaps for our next takeoff, and I already start getting my trims up, set up too. So, well guys, thank you for joining me on that short little flight. Like I said, if you want to see the return flight just in a time lapse, stay tuned to the end, and see you guys next time.